What about the suffering human beings, the millions of us who had to endure their tortures?
There were 50 insulin coma treatments according to the records, and then while I was in the coma from the insulin, they administered 35 electroconvulsive treatments. So there were a total of 85 shock treatments altogether that I was subjected to. And this was done entirely against my will. I mean, there wasn't even the resemblance of an informed consent. For me personally, my parents signed an informed consent.
When Leonard was 30 years old, he was committed to a psychiatric hospital because, according to medical records, he stopped working, spent 2 years reading in the library, grew a beard, ate only vegetarian food, and was philosophically dangerous to himself.
I think it was about a month after the end of the shock treatment that they released me, and I immediately came into San Francisco and got myself an apartment. I've lived here for over 22 or 23 years.
In his outrage and sorrow, Leonard helped to forge the unifying principles of the psychiatric patients movement, the abolition of all forced treatment, including psychiatric drugs. The challenge to psychiatric power really hit home in 1974 when the Network Against Psychiatric Assault was instrumental in getting passed an unprecedented California law, giving mental patients a limited right to informed consent for electroshock therapy. The law abolished electroshock for children under 12 and established the absolute right for all mental patients to refuse psychosurgery. The history of psychiatric abuse inspired a coalition of psychiatric survivors and mental health workers to put a human rights ordinance on the ballot, making it a misdemeanor to use shock treatment in Berkeley. The people of Berkeley passed the shock ban with 62% of the vote. This was the first time in history that a medical treatment was put before the electorate.
To be filled up with love, not to be ordered or broken or shoved.
After the election, shock treatment was banned in Berkeley for 41 days, and then federal, state, and local psychiatric associations won a preliminary injunction overruling the shock ban ordinance.
It is imperative, we feel, for the court to hear the views, not only of the psychiatric profession that imposes the treatment, but of the people who are the victims and recipients of the treatment.
The way the psychiatrists frame the issue, it's an issue of choice, free choice. Someone should have the right to choose shock treatment if they want to. The argument falls apart. I mean, it falls apart for anyone who's ever been in a mental hospital and knows what kind of choice can or can't be exercised in the mental hospital. When you're in a hospital, when you are drugged, as people typically are against their will, when you are subject to having every aspect of your lives, when you eat, when you sleep, when you go to the bathroom, who you talk to on the phone, when every aspect of your life is subjected to the power of the hospital, there is no more free choice.
No shot, no shot, no shot, no shot, no shot, no shot, no shot.
Please.
Don't hear the sound. Careful, he's not resisting.
Stand up. Please. Walk yourself.
Don't go up, stand up by yourself, otherwise we'll have to use pain compliance holds. Okay?
We don't want to use pain compliance holds, but we will.
Come on, stand up, please.
This is in Prospect Park in Brooklyn, New York. I guess I was 8 or 9 years old. It's the family. I guess we were at the zoo or something in the park. Here's my mom and me. I guess I was about 12 or 13 then. This was at 18 or 17. He was with a good friend of mine when we were in the Army. That's my mom and my dad. My dad also went to the University of Pennsylvania, as I did. Oh, this is the family and friends, more friends. Well, there's my grandfather, my mother, and friends of the family at a celebration. They and we were all living in a society that was geared to think of nonconformist conduct as being evidence of mental illness. To be different was and is to be regarded as dangerous. And when people are in fear, they try to allay these fears by calling in experts. And in our society, the experts for this kind of situation are the psychiatrists, and it's one of the ways that they derive so much of their power.